on opening day, we were talking to each other like, who do we want to talk to about it? And this was the consensus choice to let's get him on, and he's kind enough to join us here on opening day of the 2022 season. He is the founder and CEO of Jomboy Media, Jomboy himself. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well. I feel honored that I was the consensus pick. Thank you very much for having me.
You were. That's a fact. That is an absolute fact. So I don't know which way to go with this one. How nervous were you during the lockout? Let's talk that one first. What did you think about that?
I really thought they were going to miss some games, so I'm excited that we got to 162. It wasn't as ugly as I thought it was going to be. It was kind of just more comical with the fake deadlines and one side saying there's a deadline and the other side saying we don't believe you. One side canceling games and the other side saying we don't believe you. And then they ended up uncanceling all the games. So we got to a good spot in the end.
Absolutely. So tell me why the Dodgers why we should just watch it. Why the other 29 have a chance, or some of them do. Walk me through that one first.
Well, even if it is the Dodgers the whole way through, and I do think they're going to go pole to pole, first place, and I do have them going to the World Series again, I think that's going to be exciting because I don't know what arms are going to do it in L.A. They have a lot of young arms that are going to impress us. They don't have the same starting pitching, but they're just so good. Other than that, baseball's got great parity, so there's going to be some team that surprises us and makes the playoffs and then maybe makes a run, and hopefully the Giants can give the Dodgers a run for their money again. And I think the AL East has 4 teams that have pretty similar odds to win the division and then can do whatever they want in the playoffs depending on who's healthy and how they're rolling. So the AL East should be fun.
You know, when you talk about the AL East, it is hard to not choose the Rays just because, by the end of the day, you'll know that no matter what happens, they put the ball in play. They strike you out more. They've got arms that for days that throw 100 miles an hour. They've got a manager who does not care what you think about openers instead of starters and anything like that. Everybody fields it. Everyone hits it. And, you might not have a whole bunch of them on your fantasy team, but put them together and they're tough to beat. Am I wrong about that one?
I agree with you. I was shocked when I saw the odds, and a lot of the experts are kind of down on the Rays this year, I think, because the names aren't there, but the names are never there. Right. You're basically it's a team of silhouettes. They're like roster didn't change during the lockout when they changed all the faces because you never know any of them. And they're going to be there for 4 years, and they're going to torment us and then win. And I chose the Rays to win the division, and I said I didn't even look at the roster. I have no idea who they are.
I'm with you. I'm so with you, Jomboy. I'm so 100% with you. And they're so frustrating. And again, you and I come from the same pinstripe approach here because the Yankees have got a gajillion dollars, and the Rays, don't. And the Yankees have, Monument Park, and the Rays have all of these rings in their stadium that you need to know is going to, is whether it's in play or not, So, but by the end of the day, they'll just beat you anyway. Who is the surprise team then, do you think, in the American League this year?
Well, the Blue Jays haven't made the playoffs. They didn't make the playoffs last year. It's not going to be a surprise because everybody is choosing them, and they have a really, really complete roster. The lineup's great. The starting staff is top tier. The bullpen's really good. Maybe to fans that aren't paying attention to the off-season moves and the changes and just tune in on opening day and then get caught up, maybe they'll be a little surprised that they are the favorite to win the division, barely, and some places don't have them as a favorite, but a lot do. So I think that might be a surprise for some people. Other than that, I really don't know. I think it's very top heavy. I don't know if we're going to get a surprise team. Like I hope the Mariners catch some eyes in the West again and actually make the playoffs because they're young and they're fun. They made some moves to better their club, and they almost made the playoffs last year. So that might be a surprise team to make the dance, but I wouldn't pick them to win the World Series.
So then who's your American League team to face the Dodgers in the World Series? What do you got?
I like the White Sox, and I say that because I can't say another AL East team, and I don't really believe it's the Yankees, and I can't give the Red Sox, Rays, or Blue Jays any love. So that leaves me with the White Sox.
I like your process. It's impressive, Jomboy. So let's get to the Yankees. It's the pitching, right? They just, it's Cole. Cole is way too up and down for somebody that's supposed to be locked in all the time for the amount of money he makes. Right? And then Severino, it's their starters. What concerns you about the Yankees?
Yeah, it's an interesting situation with the Yankees pitching because they finished last year as a top 5 pitching staff in the rotation and the bullpen, according to WAR and ERA plus and all those fun stats. But Cole carries a lot of that weight, and if he's hurt, like he was at the end of last year, or fatigued, like he said, then it dooms you. And you can't have a hurt Cole on the road in the wild card. So the staff can be really good. If Severino is back, and he's anything like the Severino we know, and he showed signs at the end of last year, that'd be a really, really fun 1-2 punch. So it is, opening day. We are optimistic and dreaming. So I'm dreaming of Severino having a quality year. I really like Jordan Montgomery as a 3 or 4. I think he's a grinder. I think he'll always have a couple games that ruin his season-long ERA, but he'll give the team a chance to win more than he doesn't, and hopefully Tyone can step up. So the pitching was good last year. It was the offense that was the problem. Maybe it was fluky. I'm not sure. I do love their bullpen. I like the Yankees bullpen a lot. They've really changed their development on the pitching side in the minor leagues, and it showed.
Jomboy of Jomboy Media here on the Rich Eisen Show. Again, one of the many things that you do so well is show the game within the game in such a way that is not only entertaining and occasionally profane, but is just straight up what's being talked about and what's being perpetrated sometimes. So are we done with the spider tack? Is that all done, do you think, or what? Is that done?
We have a very funny update. MLB came out and they said, we are going to change the process of umpires checking the pitchers this year because I think that's kind of them sneakily admitting that it ticked back up. And if you look at a lot of pitchers last year at the end of the year, it ticked back up. So you go, oh, interesting, you're going to change the process. What do you think you have to do that's much more intense to catch these guys? And they announced that they will now be checking the pitcher's fingertips.
What's going on there? What do you think? What's going on there?
Seems like they might have, maybe that should have been the first place they checked from the start.
Instead of the belt? Instead of the belt and the shoelaces and all that?
They did belt, hat, glove last year. So I think a lot of pitchers said, okay, I'll just put it somewhere that's not those 3 places. So we will see. We will see, because at the end of in September last year, a lot of pitchers, it definitely ticked back up, and you're like, they might be having it again. So now the umpires will check their fingertips, and hopefully it goes away, because I don't like all those blights or the doubt that it puts into play.
What is pitch comm? What the hell is this thing? Can you explain it, and how this it might actually change the way that signs are stolen in baseball, Jomboy?
Yeah, so if I have this correct, I'm not 100%, but I believe it's a wristband that the catcher wears.
Yes.
And he signals the pitch that he wants to call to the pitcher, and the pitcher has a little speaker in his hat that whispers it to him like Siri. And they're allowed to give 2 defensive players the hats as well. So you would guess it would be the shortstop and the second baseman, so they know what pitch is being called. And the idea is to stop pitch stealing, which in theory is good. And if that's all it is, I'm okay with it. The first time a team taps into the system and steals it electronically, I think you have to punish them, fully punish them right away, because someone's going to try. But in theory, it should speed up the game. I do love. I'm pretty open to a lot of the changes of speeding up the game and making it all more entertaining and all that. I do love watching the pitcher and catcher communicate without words and shaking no and the fake shakes. Zach Greinke does a lot of fake shakes where he shakes no, but he doesn't really mean it, just to fake out the batter. So we'll lose a little bit of that, but if it takes away sign stealing and scheming and we get a more honest approach, I'm fine with that.
So it's in the hat? like I can't wait to see how this works. And so if a shortstop and a second baseman have it, because it, from what I read, it not only communicates what the pitch is, but the location as well. And it works in English and Spanish as well. That, like, let's just say there's 6,000 fans in a stadium because a team stinks, or it's 12:30 at night and they went through a 3-hour rain delay. Is it possible somebody's leading off a second base and they hear something in the ear, the communicating of the shortstop? Like, is that entirely possible of hearing that?
I'd love to test it out and see, because how loud is it?
Right.
I mean, can they hear it if the crowd is loud? Is now football come into play where you're screaming so the pitcher can't hear the call? Because then they'll just revert back to their fingertips. So that weirded me out when they said it was a robot saying it. Like, why wouldn't it just be like a bzz, bzz, or I don't know. It seems like a little buzz would be better, but to have someone whisper to you, I think it would throw me off my game if I had a robot talking to me.
Yeah, sometimes my guy Brockman gets in my ear and he sounds very robotic, and it throws me off a little bit too. So
that's
never
a
know.
fair point. Fair point.
So, Jomboy, walk me through your process. How do you decide what deserves one of your famed breakdowns or not? Walk me through, like, say, Oscar night, what that was like for you.
So my baby was asleep already. I had put him down, and I was on the couch by myself. And for that one, it was, I got tagged in it a bunch because at first people thought it was going to be a lip-reading situation because they muted it in the U.S.
Yes.
So my Twitter blew up, and then the other footage came out. There was one from Australia that was not bleeped, and then there's one from Japan, which had it uncensored, what Will Smith yelled, but also had like the Japanese overdub. And all three of those were going around. So I thought it would be beneficial to mix the three. So that's what I did. I combined the three, so it's one fluid, no Japanese overdub, the actual words. And then I kind of just, walked through why he took offense, and then kind of pointed out some funny stuff that I noticed. And, once I realized there's 3 different clips going around, and it'd probably be helpful if I just combined them for people,
right?
Knowing that it was hot, and if that was a breakdown that if I made it the next day, I don't think it gets as much attention, but I was able to make it within the hour, and I got 20 million views in 12 hours.
It's amazing. 20 million views in half a day.
Across Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. It went nuts.
So you're cutting this yourself? Like, you're like, I got to do this, like, on the spot? Or you got a team?
Yep, I grabbed all the footage, went down to my office in the basement, and pieced it together and edited it, posted it.
That is truly the most. I still can't believe he slapped him. I still can't believe that actually happened, Jomboy.
No, it's a lot of people thought it was fake, but now the repercussions are coming down. And
you think?
I don't think people think it's fake anymore.
What's your favorite one you've done for baseball? Which one do you think is the best one you've done? Your breakdowns.
We're up to like 1,000 now, so it's tough. People, there's ones that the Boone's speech, "The Savages in the Box," still cracks me up every time I hear it. But that's all him. I didn't do much. There's some good lip readings. I always loved Gabe Kapler when he was on the Phillies because he was kind of so earnest in his arguments with umpires. Mm-hmm. Whenever I can tackle the lip reading and really think I got it, that's fun. Let's see, the Amir Garrett fight one, that's a while back, but everybody enjoys that. Last year I had when Scherzer got checked for sticky stuff, and then Joe Girardi was yelling at across the dugout, and they had to rub the umpire's fingers through his hair. That was really fun. That was a fun one.
I remember that one. He's just like, you got to be kidding me. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Did you ever get any blowback? Somebody was like really pissed that you tapped into something that actually happened, and they didn't want the Jomboy lip reading treatment spotlight placed on it. Has that ever happened with you?
No, I haven't. Whenever we interview players or meet players, sometimes they'll say like, "Oh, you did one," and I always ask, Did I get it right? And usually they're like, yeah. I try not to ever really put someone on full blast. I think now I know people watch them, so it's trends more towards humor than critique. But no, I haven't. I'm sure there's been players that haven't enjoyed a video or just a bad moment. There was that Pirates first baseman Will Craig who had one of the worst blunders ever, and I made a video on it, and just this is one of the worst blunders ever. So I'm sure he didn't watch it or enjoy that it was made, but what are you going to do?
You mean running somebody back to home plate like he's got him in a rundown?
Yeah.
That's a first bet. A grounder to
I've ever
first,
seen.
running him back to home plate like that was Little League stuff. That was unbelievable.
It was very bizarre. Could have just stepped on first.
Oh my God. All right, before I let you go, what are we not talking about? What's coming this season? What are you hearing about? What do you think is going to be? Because I didn't think, we would be talking Spider Tack in the middle of the year last year until obviously a couple of games got played. But what are you hearing? What can you tell us? Anything on that front, Jomboy?
It's been such a crazy offseason that we had so many moves. I don't know, it doesn't seem like there's a big target in the offseason right now that we know, hey, this guy's going to get traded for come the All-Star break or around there. So I'm hoping that it's really the NL East and the AL East are kind of really top-heavy, a bunch of teams, good baseball. I don't have any, drama that I am aware of besides the baseball games.
Well, one thing I think you should keep an eye on, if I may, and I think you will anyway, but the umpires trying to figure out how to announce to the crowd what they've actually decided for the first time. They're being forced to, just like every other ref in sports or official in sports, explain to the crowd what they've decided to adjudicate once replay is over. They can't just give one sign and grunt at a base and just leave it at that anymore.
15 years later, MLB finally did it.
I mean, right? So, there are going to be some umpires that just won't be able to handle the explanation factor or anything like that, or miss the camera or something like that. I think
there's a lot of they don't have their stage-ready voice.
Yep.
It's going to be funny to hear some of them stumble through it, and also sometimes the upstairs ump gets it wrong, and then they have to be the one that tells everyone that. And not say, it wasn't me, it was him. That's what they tell the players. I've lip read that before. They say, hey, that upstairs made this call. I don't know. They're not going to be able to say that to the crowd.
I was just saying the other day, I'm upset this has happened after Joe West retires. Denying us one extra way for him to communicate to the fans that he doesn't really care to communicate with them. It's just like that. That disappoints me. That he's gone.
I would bet you when he read the headline, he thought about coming back out of retirement.
Just to show his
now he's got a mic.
That's right. Just to show his disdain verbally, for everybody.
Yes.
Jomboy, congrats on all your remarkable success, and look for my call. I'd love to keep in touch with you and just get your unique perspective on this sport. I think it's valuable and unique and entertaining, and thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
You got it. That's Jomboy of Jomboy Media. I follow him. Everybody pretty much has to, I think, in order to be online. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.